It's my first video that I'm doing. Or welcome to my first video for YouTube. How to stop negative self-talk and rewire your brain for confidence. This is such an important topic, one that I am incredibly passionate about. Why? Because I struggle with negative self-talk. It's something that I work on every single day, improving my mindset. And I want you to do the same because the greatest abuse a human will ever endure is the abuse inflicted upon them by themselves. But let's go ahead and get started in this video by generating or increasing our self-awareness around how you might talk to yourself. I've got a few questions to ask you. Your first question, or the first question I have, is are you often critical of yourself towards maybe your achievements or your appearance? Jen, you're not skinny enough, you're not pretty enough, or Jen, you're not a good enough speaker. Think about how you might be judging yourself. Another question, do you struggle with feelings of worthiness or not feeling good enough? Are you unhappy with how you are, who you are? Do you feel like you're just never enough or someone else has always got it figured out? Is your self-critical thinking or that negative self-talk impacting other areas of your life? Meaning, do you notice that you have low confidence or negative self-talk at work, not feeling like you're good enough? And then all of a sudden that transitions into your personal life. Maybe you feel like you're not good enough. So in your relationships, you find yourself as a people pleaser or you don't say no. Do you often blame yourself when things go wrong? These questions and the answers to them can be a great starting point to understand how negative thinking is impacting your life. After all, if your best friend talked to you the way that you talk to yourself, would you still be friends? Probably not. And what I want you to know is that voice in your head, that nagging, critical, never satisfied voice is not the truth. It feels like it's the truth because it's your truth. We see things as we are, not as they are. Your negative thinking, that voice, is actually just a habit. And today, I'm going to show you how you can break it and rewire your brain and start speaking to yourself with the confidence that you deserve. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jen Nawal, and I am a mindset and mental health speaker and a coach and consultant at MC. And today, I want to share with you a simple technique on how you can reframe or minimize that negative self-talk so you can build your confidence. By the end of this video, I'm going to give you a 3-step process that you can use to create awareness, to challenge, and then reframe your thinking. I'll also drop in a few nuggets along the way. But to get started, what I want to understand or want you to understand is what's happening in your brain when that negative self-talk starts to take over. Negative self-talk, at the root of it is your own negativity bias. All of us have the negativity bias. It's essentially assuming the worst to keep ourselves safe. Your brain just looks for these threats. Oh my gosh, does that person not like me? Is that lack of response a sign that I'm not good enough? We are always trying to gather this information to keep ourselves safe, and we have a tendency to assume the worst. And that's our default programming. It's part of our survival. And it's something that you need to learn how to challenge because that's when we start to actually lie to ourselves. A great perspective that I heard, or a rule of thumb, is first thought, worst thought. Don't trust the first thing that you say to yourself. Maybe trust the second or the third thing about a situation. Another thing that I want you to know about negative self-talk is that it's often just an echo of our past. It's not necessarily a true representation of our current situation. So we have to be really curious about when we might be drawing on the past or assumptions, assuming that because something happened once in the past, it's going to happen again. It's not necessarily true. And what you need to know why this is important and why you need to know that is when you have these negative thinking or negative thoughts, you might notice that you have common patterns, such as reinforcing I'm never good enough or imposter syndrome. And you have to recognize them because the more that you actually repeat a negative thought, like I didn't deserve this job, I'm not a good enough leader. If you reinforce that on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, the stronger that neural pathway becomes, meaning it will really feel like the truth, even though it's not. But here's the good news. Your thoughts, They're like a muscle. Your brain can actually be rewired and new neural pathways can be created. And now I want to show you how by using a 3-step process of changing and challenging your thoughts. Step 1 is to build your self-awareness. That's to catch it, to create awareness around your negative thinking. I like to describe this as owning it to control it. If you are not aware of your thoughts and how they're actually impacting your ability to take risks, speak up in a meeting, then you can't do anything to change them. So you have to build that self-awareness. And here's how you can do it. For the next 24 hours, I want you to grab a journal, pen, piece of paper, maybe go on to a Google Doc, whatever that is. I want you to start to write down every negative thought that you have. You don't have to do anything with it. I just want you to start to practice creating awareness around your negative thinking so you can start to separate them from who you are and start to realize, oh, okay, like just because I have a thought doesn't mean I have to latch onto it. Our thoughts are beautiful things that we have the opportunity to control, but it starts with building our self-awareness. Because the truth that I want you to know is that you're not your thoughts. You're just the observer of your thoughts. And when you start noticing them, that's when you can take back control. Some unhelpful thinking habits might be noticing if you discount the positive. If you take things personally, it's always my fault. All or nothing or win-lose thinking. I either did this right or I did this wrong. I'm either winning or losing. I'm failing or succeeding. Truth of the matter is, you're actually just living, and life has ups and downs. Do you have unhelpful thinking such as overgeneralizing? Nothing good ever happens, always. Or do you find yourself using should, must, these guilt-inducing statements? Maybe you even find yourself blaming others instead of looking within. So start to recognize it. That first piece, the first step in changing your negative thinking is to catch it, to be aware of it when it's happening. And you might think that this is so easy to do, to build that self-awareness, but it's not. 90% of people believe that they're self-aware, but only 10% are. That means that a lot of us are lying to ourselves, or we all have the opportunity to get a little bit more self-aware. Let's go into step 2. Once you create the awareness for it, then you can start to challenge it, to ask yourself, how true is this thought? You can think about this as fact checking the negative thinking. You could ask yourself, is this 100% true? What would I say to a friend? And once you start to capture that negative thinking or there's patterns and identify them, you can challenge it by also reframing it. What's a more realistic, compassionate way that I could look at this situation? For example, instead of I'm terrible at public speaking, maybe the reframe is I'm still learning. Every time I do it, I get better. This is all about maybe creating a new definition of success or learning how to challenge it. Hey, your thoughts are like cars driving by on the road. You do not have to get in and drive that car, that old hoopty that's going to lead you down the pathway of not feeling good enough. You can choose to get into that amazing G-Wagon, whatever car you think is cool, the one that's going to motivate you and inspire you to see yourself as your best self. You get to choose it. Once you start to challenge it, to know that the greatest abuse a human will ever endure is the abuse inflicted upon them by themselves. We are mean. We often lie to ourselves on these stories. They feel true to us, but it does not mean they are the truth. Now, the final step in changing your negative thinking is to actually change it. So you have to create the awareness, challenge it, then it's all about actually replacing or changing it. This is the opportunity for you to rewire your brain. So instead of just stopping the negative thoughts, you actually can replace them with confidence building ones. So to do this, try something like creating a power phrase, a short and empowering statement that drowns out the negativity. So instead of I'll never be good enough, say I am capable in learning every day. Repeat it to yourself daily. Maybe write it down on a Post-it note. The more that you repeat it, the more that your brain will actually start believing it. Yes, your brain believes everything that you tell it. Right, wrong, good, bad. We have to be incredibly cautious of how we communicate to ourselves. Now, if changing it is a challenge for you, that's okay. Hey, you're doing something for the first time. You could actually back it up and just practice stopping your thoughts. So if I find myself maybe in a situation where I'm triggered, maybe I was in a meeting and all of a sudden my confidence got checked. Ugh, I don't feel good enough. I start comparing. When that starts to happen, Jen, you're not good enough. Jen, see how other people are better than you. Jen, see how everyone else has it figured out. All the lies. Just practice stopping the thought. Deflect. I'm not going down that path. Deflect. I'm assuming the worst. Everything's going to go terribly. Deflect. I'm not going down that path. Choose a stop word like deflect or stop, something that helps you take back control just by creating that awareness and saying, nope, not doing that, and redirecting your thoughts to focus on something else. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up here, but here's the deal. One thing that I, again, want to drive home to you. Your brain is listening to every single thing that you say. So what are you choosing to tell it? Because confidence isn't about never having negative thoughts. We'll always have negative thoughts, all because of that negativity bias. Confidence is about training your brain to recognize those negative thoughts, to challenge them, and then to choose better ones that are more productive and supportive for helping you feel and be your best. So I want to hear from you. If you found value in this, if you know you're going to do something, or maybe you're already starting to think this is that negative or that one negative thought I want to change, let me know. Drop that negative thought down in the comment section. Tell me what you're going to change and what you're going to either reframe it to or how you're going to start to challenge it. Let's rewire our brains together. And finally, this is my first video. And so what I would love from you is to subscribe. If you found this video helpful, hit that button, subscribe, and check out my other videos coming soon, all about confidence, mindset, and mental health. Thank you so much for listening to my video. I had a great time, and I hope that this helps you be a little bit kinder to yourself. Don't be a jerk to yourself. Instead of punching yourself down, learn how to build yourself up. Thanks for listening.